Yasovitani sasvanam
Daushyantiriva yajvanam Esha data sharanyascha Yatha hi oshi narah shivi Yasho vitanita svanam Daushyantir yajvanam Esha data sharanyascha Yatha hi oshi narah shivi Yasho vitanita svanam Dausyantir yajvanam. Anybody would like to repeat? Go ahead.
Esha data sharanyascha Yatha yoshi naraha shibi
Yatha hi yoshi narah shibi
Vitanita svanam
Yasho vitanita svanam Dausyantir yajvanam. Thank you, Mataji. You want to try?
Esha data sharanyascha
Esha data sharanyascha
Oshi naraha shibi
Yatha hi yoshi narah shibi
Yasho vitanita svanam
Yasho vitanita svanam
Dausyantir iva
Dausyantir yajvanam. Anybody online would like to try?
Esha data sharanyascha
Esha data sharanyascha
Yata hi aushir narashibihi
Yatha hi yoshi narah shibi
Yasho vitanita svanam
Yasho vitanita svanam
Dausyantiryava yajvanam.
Dausyantir yajvanam. Thank you, Chandrasekhar Prabhu. Or was that Dhanaraj Prabhu? I forgot. Okay, anybody else would like to do it online? Okay, so let us go with the synonyms. Eshaha, this child. Data, donor in charity. Sharanyaha, protector of the surrendered. Cha, and. Yatha, as. He, certainly. Aushi Naraha, the country named Ushi Nara. Shibihi, Shibi. Yashaha, fame. Vitanita, disseminator. Swanam, of the kingsmen. Daushyanti iva, like Bharat, the son of Dushyanta. Yajvanam, of those who have performed many sacrifices. Translation. This child will be a munificent donor of charity and protector of the surrendered, like the famous King Shibi of the Ushinara country. And he will expand the name and fame of his family like Bharata, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta. Okay, so let us read the purport. Purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A king becomes famous by his acts of charity, performance of yagyas, protection of the surrendered, etc. So just to give the context here, or just to kind of understand this verse, so that Srila Prabhupada has written a very beautiful, nice purport detailing two stories or two past sort of aspects. So in this verse, Esha data sharanyascha. So let's just kind of understand the verse before we go into the purport. So the various brahmanas, the various personalities that are present are bestowing this blessing on Maharaj Parikshit. And they are saying that this child, Esha, this child, Data, will become a Data, will do Dan. One who does Dan is known as Data. So he will do a lot of charity to the Sharanyash. Sharanya means who has taken Sharana. So we will see this. This is part of what I have also prepared, like who surrendered to Maharaj Parikshit.
The bull and the cow.
They also surrendered, but then unexpected personality surrendered.
Kali
Also surrendered. Yes, exactly. And we will see how Maharaj Parikshit gave charity to Kali. And that is very, very similar to Shibi. So the next line is, so Esha Data Sharanyascha. So like a very, very similar pastime occurs, like in mood and in theme. Yatha hi Oshinaraha Shibi. That as Maharaj Shibi in the country named Ushinara. So Maharaj Shibi, we will see in the story that Srila Prabhupada describes, even he also gave shelter even to the aggressor. So Kali was the aggressor. Of course, the bull and the cow, they were personifications of Dharma and Bhumi. So they were being beaten or being tortured by Kali. But Maharaj Parikshit gave them shelter. He gave Kali shelter also. Just like Maharaj Shibi, who was the aggressor in this case, we will read the story. The eagle was trying to, eat a pigeon.
Takes mass from my body.
Yes. So he says that, so he gives shelter to the aggressor, the eagle. We will see that story soon. So very similar theme is being shown here. And the second part is Yasho Vitanita Swanam. So he will bring Yash. So the first concept was Dan, the second concept is Yash. So these two concepts, so he'll become very Dani and he will become very Yashasvi. So he'll become, Vitanita Swanam, to his kingsmen, to his dynasty, to his future and the past also. They'll all be glorified by one's, glory, by one's lineage. Doshyantir iva yajvanam. So Doshyantir, so this is referring to the Bharat Maharaj, who is the son of Dushyanta and Shakuntala. So that story is very made famous by Kalidas. He wrote a great play. But this Bharat is not the same Bharat we will also see Srila Prabhupada mentions as Bharat, who is the son of Rishabdev, which we study in the 5th canto. But this is Bharata, on whom the Bharat dynasty is called. In Bhagavad Gita, you must have seen Lord Krishna calling Arjuna as Bharata, right? So Bharata means the descendant of Bharata. So Arjuna is descendant of Bharat. So this is the starting of the dynasty. So Bhishma Dev appears in the dynasty of Bharat Maharaj. So we will see all of these things. So here mainly the benediction that is being bestowed by the Brahmins on Parikshit Maharaj is that he will be Yashasvi, or he'll bring name and fame and glory to the dynasty, and he will be very charitable to those who are surrendered to him. So Dani and Yashasvi, these are the 2 points being covered. Okay. So let's read in that context. Let's read the purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So here basically Srila Prabhupada is going to share these 2 pastimes. And I have read the various commentaries there are 3 or 4 major commentaries on the Srimad Bhagavatam, most importantly by Sridhar Swami, then by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, then Jiva Goswami has put commentaries to fill the gaps, not gaps as such, but to add to what Sridhar Swami did not add or whatever. So Jiva Goswami's commentary is basically an addendum to Sridhar Swami's commentary. So he in fact mentions that wherever, I'm just filling the gaps or I'm just adding portions. So please read my commentary. You cannot read my commentary alone. You must read it along with Sridhar Swami's commentary. That's why it's very sparse. And it is sparse because it's not like he forgot to or didn't want to talk about even some important verses. He doesn't talk about it in his commentary, Jiva Goswami, which is known as Krama Sandarbha. Because, one can wonder why he didn't comment on it. Because Sridhar Swami has already commented in good enough detail. So Jiva Goswami did not feel the need to add anything else. So that is the reason why Jiva Goswami's commentary is very sparse. So that is the second commentary. First is Sridhar Swami. Second is Jiva Goswami. Third is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He has written a very detailed commentary. And then fourth is Baladev Vidyabhushan, who is a disciple of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who has again filled in the gaps of the wherever Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, wherever he was inspired to add to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. These are the four principal commentaries that are read in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya for the Srimad Bhagavatam. Then on the 10th canto, there are many more commentaries, just on 10th canto. Okay, so Sanatana Goswami has written a commentary and many others have written commentaries on the 10th canto exclusively. So, I have looked at all those commentaries for this verse. Just very, very small 1-2 line commentaries are there. So Srila Prabhupada's commentary is the most thorough, the most sort of lucid commentary that we have on this verse. So let us read that commentary. A king becomes famous by his acts of charity, performance of yagyas, protection of the surrendered, etc. A Kshatriya king is proud to give protection to the surrendered souls. Okay, so this is the dan aspect. Give protection, that is the dan of protection. This attitude of a king is called Ishvara Bhav, or factual power to give protection in a righteous cause. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord instructs living beings to surrender unto him, and he promises all protection, right? The Lord is all powerful and true to his word, and therefore he never fails to give protection to his different devotees. The king, being the representative of the Lord, must possess this attitude of giving protection to the surrendered souls at all risk. Maharaj Shibi, the king of Ushinara, was an intimate friend of Maharaj Yayati, who was able to reach the heavenly planets along with Maharaj Shibi. Maharaj Shibi was aware of the heavenly planet where he was to be transferred after his death. And the description of this heavenly planet is given in the Mahabharata, Adi Parva 96, 6-9. Maharaj Shibi was so charitably disposed that he wanted to give over his acquired position in the heavenly kingdom to Yayati, but he did not accept it. Yayati went to the heavenly planet along with the great rishis like Ashtaka and others. On inquiry from the rishis, Yayati gave an account of Shibi's pious acts when all of them were on the path of heaven. He has become a member of the assembly of Yamaraj, who has become his worshipful deity. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, the worshipper of the demigods goes to the planets of the demigods, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. So Maharaj Shibi has become an associate of the great Vaishnava authority Yamaraj on that particular planet. While he was on the earth, he became very famous as a protector of the surrendered souls and a donor of charities. The king of heaven once took the shape of a pigeon hunter bird, eagle. So king of heaven is who? Indra. And Agni, the fire god, took the shape of a pigeon. The pigeon, while being chased by the eagle, took shelter on the lap of Maharaj Shibi. And the hunter eagle wanted the pigeon back from the king. The king wanted to give it some other meat to eat and requested the bird to not kill the pigeon. The hunter bird refused to accept the king's offer. But it was settled later on that the eagle would accept the flesh from the body of the king of the pigeon's equivalent weight. The king began to cut flesh from his body to weigh in the balance equivalent to the weight of the pigeon. but the mystic pigeon always remained heavier. The king then put himself on the balance to equate with the pigeon, and the demigods were pleased with him. The king of heaven and the fire god disclosed their identity, and the king was blessed by them. Devarshi Narad also glorified Maharaj Shibi for his great achievements, specifically in charity and protection. Maharaj Shibi sacrificed his own son for the satisfaction of human beings in his kingdom. And thus, child Parikshit was to become a second Shibi in charity and protection. Right? So let's continue with the second story, Dushyanti Bharata. Daushyanti Bharata. Daushyanti means the son of Dushyanta, Bharata. There are many Bharatas in history, of which Bharat, the brother of Lord Ram, Bharat, the son of King Rishabh, and Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta, are very famous. And all these Bharatas are historically known to the universe. This earth planet is known as Bharat or Bharatvarsh due to King Bharat, the son of Rishabdev. But according to some, this land is known as Bharat due to the reign of the son of Dushyanta, that Bharat. Okay. So as far as we are concerned, so far as we are convinced, this land's name Bharatvarsh was established from the reign of Bharata, the son of King Rishabha. Before him, the land was known as Ilavratavarsh. But just after the coronation of Bharat, the son of Rishabha, this land became famous as Bharatvarsh. But despite all this, Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyant, was not less important. He is the son of the famous beauty Shakuntala. Maharaj Dushyant fell in love with Shakuntala in the forest, and Bharat was conceived. After that, Maharaj forgot his wife Shakuntala by the curse of Kanva Muni, and the child Bharat was brought up in the forest by his mother. Even in his childhood, he was so powerful that he challenged the lions and elephants in the forest and would fight with them as little children play with cats and dogs. Because of the boys becoming so strong, more than the so-called modern Tarzan, the rishis in the forest called him Sarvadamana, or one who is able to control everyone, Sarvadamana. A full description of Maharaj Bharat is given in Mahabharata Adi Parva. The Pandavas or the Kurus are sometimes addressed as Bharata due to being born in the dynasty of the famous Maharaj Bharat, the son of Dushyant. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, this is the story of Maharaj Bharat and Maharaj Shibi. So, these are the two personalities by which, or based on which, this purport is written. And once again, these two are mentioned in this verse. Esha data sharanyascha yathahi oshinara Shibi yasho vitanitam swanam daushyantir iva yajvanam. So, translation: this child will be a munificent donor of charity and protector of the surrendered, like the famous King Shibi of the Oshinara country. And he will expand the name and fame of his family like Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyant. So once again, the aspects of charity and yash are being bestowed on Maharaj Parikshit. So this is the beginning of Kali Yuga, and Maharaj Parikshit is going to be sort of the first ruler who will oversee the onset of Kali. We see that in the later chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam as well. So charity is known as the Yuga Dharma of Kali Yuga. Is that correct? What is the Yuga Dharma? Nam Sankirtanasya. So Nam Sankirtana is the Yuga Dharma. So there are two types of dharmas. Okay, there is the Bhagavat Dharma. Bhagavat Dharma, Nam Sankirtan, is the topmost activity of Kali Yuga. But we know the four Purusharthas, right? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Okay. So, to make progress, material progress, this is dharma, artha, kama is the cycle of material progress. Okay, that's your sort of living like a good person, legally good according to dharmic activities. That dharma, that yug dharma, dharma, artha, kama, to make material progress by doing nama sankirtan, do you think you will make material progress? No, it's not meant to. Even if you want to make material progress, you will become spiritualized. You will give up the desire for material progress. It's like you wanted something, your goalpost will be shifted. You were trying to go to that goal, your goalpost itself will get shifted because of the process that you were trying to adopt to reach the previous goalpost. The goalpost will say, let me change positions. So that is Bhagavat Dharma. So that is what happens with Nama Sankirtan. So those who are very clear about their destination being Bhagavat Dham, they will benefit greatly from Nama Sankirtana. But those who want material progress, the Yuga Dharma for the Kali Yuga, in Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is Dana. For that, not Yagya, not any other of the other processes of Dharma. So, Dan is the prescribed method for making material progress in Kali Yuga. It is said that whatever you give Dan, you are investing, right? So everybody cares about rate of investment, right? Wherever you get higher rate of investment, you invest there. So Dan is supposed to be a exponential rate of interest of 2x. So it is like works, as I have understood, my understanding. If you give Dan of some Dan you give, next life you get double. If you don't use that, then in the next life it becomes 4 times. Then it becomes 8 times. So like that, in just a few lifetimes, you can see how much, if you have given some Dan, how much, you can reap it back. So that is material progress. Not in this one life, but over lifetimes, Dan is provides the highest rate of return. Among all the possible banks, it provides the highest rate of return. So that is the Dan of the and Dan which is done. So charity in the mode of goodness. In Bhagavad Gita, we see charity in the mode of goodness. So Bhagavad Gita, 17th chapter, I believe it is the 21 verses, which talk about Dana. Remember FSAC? So food, sacrifice, austerity, and charity. So the last one is Dana. So it says, Datavyam iti yad danam diyate anupakarine deshe kale cha patre cha tad danam satvikam smritam. So what are the things that make up dan in the mode of goodness? So that is Datavyam iti yad danam. That charity is called real dan or worth giving, which is diyate anupakarine. So which is given without any karana. Without any hetu, that I am giving this dan, so I will get back something. So give it, just give. Then it gets higher rate of return. Even giving, knowing that next life I will get double, then it diminishes. Just give. Just that is the highest dan. And deshe kale cha patre cha. Tad danvam satvikam smritam. Given to the right, at the right place. Deshe, kale at the right time. Patre, to the right patra, to the right person. Tad danam satvikam smritam. That is the charity in the mode of goodness. Okay. So there is this very famous story that I was hearing in some class today. Not today, sorry. I mean, in the last couple of weeks or last few days, of one Rishi. His name was Modak Rishi. Have anybody heard the story of Modak Rishi and the Nevla? What is Nevla called in English? Napoleon. Okay. Anybody heard the story of Modak Rishi and the Napoleon or Nevla? Mongoose. Yeah, maybe.
Yes.
Okay, something like that. You get the idea. The guy who fights with a snake. That anybody heard that story? No? Okay, so it will be a new pastime for you. So there was one Modak Rishi. So he is considered to be an example of a Dani, of somebody who gives charity. And we will see the comparison, very beautiful comparison. is there. So a very nice story of how much, we should just give. And this is a exemplification of charity in the mode of goodness. So this was a very, very poor Brahmin, and extremely poor, and he was just making his, living as a very poor Brahmin. And so poor that he did not even have money to buy food. So, how he used to sustain his life in the fields, like, rice or wheat, whatever, after the farmers have cut the crop, right? And they have taken it away. So while cutting the crop, some grains may just fall on the ground, just because they cannot, make sure every single grain is reaped. So something falls on the ground. So after the farmers have cut away the crop, he would go into the fields, just pick up those fallen grains, which the farmers didn't care to pick up. And then he would go to the marketplace where they would sell wheat in big, they would put big mounds of wheat, and then people would buy. Then in the evening, they would wrap up their, stall and go home. Some grains would just remain left on the ground. He would collect those grains. And then he would take those away, and, he would make something to eat from that. So, and this, as you know, the harvesting doesn't happen year round. It happens in a particular season. So whatever he collects has to last, for the whole year. So that's the level of poverty, and, he was living under. But he was a very charitable Brahmin. And so one time, so he had made some, ground some wheat, and he had made some little, patties out of it. And he was about to, heat it or whatever, cook it and eat it. One rishi came to his hut, and he said, I am hungry, please, he came to beg, his madhukari or his bhiksha, whatever. So that was the only thing that the husband and wife had. And so the husband says, no problem, today I will fast. So he gave his bread to the visiting rishi. So he said, I'm still hungry. So then even his wife followed the example of her husband and said, no problem, I will also fast. And she also gave, and that was the last bread of the season. So they happily gave it, very happily they gave it to the visiting guest. And so a Nevla, he was watching this whole thing. And he thought, he's such a nice person, let me go and take his blessings. So as he came close to take the blessings of this Brahmin couple, half of his body became golden, like made of gold. Nevla's body, okay, the mongoose's body. And then he took the blessings and went away. But he was thinking, like, when will the next season come so that I can come to this Brahmin again and make the rest half of my body golden. So he was looking, so throughout the year, he was looking for places to go and make the rest of his body golden. Then he traveled, some distance, and there he saw none other than Maharaj Yudhishthir performing the Rajasuya Yajna. Now imagine in Indraprasth. If you remember in Indraprasth, after Maharaj Yudhishthir had, conquered the whole planet, and big Rajasuya Yajna was happening at that place. And he said, it's a big yajna. And so much charity was given over there. Maharaj Yudhishthir, none other than Maharaj Yudhishthir, very righteous, very pious, and so much charity it's given in Mahabharata. How many, like, millions of cows and tons of gold, and so much was distributed. And then finally this Nevla, he came to Maharaj Yudhishthir, and he said, it's written in the Mahabharata, the story. He said, he made like an expression, I don't remember the Sanskrit word, but he said, what is this charity you are doing? Completely useless. Maharaj Yudhishthir was like taken aback. Like, what do you mean this charity? This is Rajasuya Yagya. There is no bigger charitable festival than this one. The whole world's Brahmins are coming here to receive charity. So then he tells the story of that Modak Brahman. And then he says, see, half my body is golden. I went to every nook and corner of your Rajasuya Yagya, and I was like going like this in the ground, trying to, see. Not even one hair of my body became golden. Not even one hair became golden. So that tells me that your charity does not is lackluster in comparison to the charity of that Brahman. So again, just to make the point, not to belittle Maharaj Yudhishthir or anything, but how that Brahman's charity was completely in the mode of goodness. So that is what is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, Datavyam iti yad danam diyate anupakarine, deshe kale chapatre cha tad danam satvikam smritam. That is the best kind of charity. So, like this, Maharaj Parikshit was a very, very righteous king. And in the very similar scenario, like Maharaj Shibi gave charity of himself, of his body, his flesh, to the aggressor, to the so-called aggressor, the eagle, who was trying to kill the pigeon. But the eagle said that even I am a citizen of your country. So, okay, if the pigeon is my food, so why don't you give me, your flesh instead? So he said, okay. And then he showed his great charitable quality. So in the same way, Maharaj Parikshit was a very righteous king. He was the entire, all the citizens of Bharatvarsh. Okay, that's another point we should hit upon. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that there are three Bharats who are very famous. Maharaj Bharat, who was the brother of Lord Ram, then son of Rishabhdev, the Bharat Maharaj who had three lives, the life of deer, and then Jad Bharat. And then this Bharat, who's, one of the ancestors of the Kuru dynasty, son of Dashyant and Shakuntala. So the name, it is mentioned in 5th canto that the name of Bharatvarsh was based on Rishabhdev. I can show you the verse. Anyway, so Maharaj Parikshit would go around the entire kingdom trying to protect. The entire kingdom was very surrendered to him. He was a very affectionate king, not like today's politicians who, half the country hates, and it's very bipolar. So there, if you also remember when Shamik Rishi's son cursed Maharaj Parikshit, how sad Shamik Rishi was. He said, what a great blunder you have done. This is the most, this is the best king, the best hope the world had for Kali Yuga. And you have ended his time, you have cut short his time. So Shamik Rishi was, it shows that how appreciative he was of the reign of Maharaj Parikshit. So Maharaj Parikshit would go around keeping the kingdom safe and protected all the citizens. And we can see that the bull and the cow, which were Dharma and Bhumi, they were being beaten and tortured by Kali personified. And so when Maharaj Parikshit, on seeing that, he had lifted his sword and he was about to kill Kali. Imagine, kill Kali, as in like, to Kali Yuga would not have progressed. We would have all probably been much happier now. All the effects of Kali Yuga would not have been there. But then Kali took shelter of Maharaj Parikshit. So Kali said, so there is this verse, let me show you. It's a very nice verse. This is in chapter 17 of the 1st canto. Verse number 37. Maybe we can read the Sanskrit as well, but So, yeah. So Maharaj Parikshit is saying, therefore, O friend of irreligion, friend of irreligion is Kali. You do not deserve to remain in a place, so I'm reading 33, where experts perform sacrifices according to the truth and religious principles for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And like this, he was, Maharaj Parikshit was somewhere, it is said he had raised his sword. Where is that? Yeah, I think 35. Sri Suta Goswami said, the personality of Kali, thus being ordered by Maharaj Parikshit. Wait, so. Okay. Began to tremble in fear. Seeing the king before him like Yamaraj, ready to kill him. Yeah, so that one, ready to kill him. Kali spoke to the king the following as follows, the following words. Okay. So Maharaj Parikshit had almost lifted his sword to kill Kali, but then Kali surrenders. So this is a verse of surrender. So number 36 is, O your majesty, though I may live anywhere and everywhere under your order, I shall but see you with bow and arrows wherever I look. So he's basically very scared of Maharaj Parikshit. And then verse 37, he is surrendering. He's saying that, therefore, O chief among the protectors of religion. So this is the point I wanted to. The Sanskrit is Tan me dharma bhritam shrestha. Dharma bhritam means the protector of dharma. Shrestha, the best protector of religion. So that is the first point. O chief among the protectors of religion, sthanam nirdeshtum arhasi. So a sthan, a place, nirdeshtum. Nirdeshtum means please fix it, please specify, give me an order where I can live. So please fix a place for me. Yatraiva niyato vatsya atishtham ste anushasanam. So please, niyato vatsya atishtham. Atishtham means to give me a permanent residence. Somewhere I can live without fear that tomorrow you will come and kill me or something like that. Please give me a place where I can also live. So, te anushasanam, under your government or under your, anushasan, under your arrangement, give me a place where I can also live happily, because I'm also a citizen. I'm here by design. So then comes the very famous verse number 38. And here Maharaj Parikshit gives him orders to, or tells him that you can live in one of these 4 places. So Suta Uvacha, Abhyarthitah tada tasmai sthanani kalaye dadau dyutam panam striyah suna yatra adharmash chaturvidha. So Suta Goswami says that, what did Maharaj Parikshit do? Abhyarthitah tada tasmai. So, by being tada tasmai, by being petitioned by him in this way, abhyarthitah means as a begging, as a, please, as a, who has taken shelter, who has surrendered. Sthanani kalaye dadau. These are the places where he gave to Kali in charity. Because dadau, you can see here, dadau means he gave. So that is the charitable nature or the compassionate nature of Maharaj Parikshit, who gave the following places to live to Kali. What are these places? Dyutam panam strihasuna. So what are these? Dyutam means gambling. Panam means drinking. Striyaha means all illicit relationships. And suna means animal slaughter. So these are the 4 places. Yatra adharmash chaturvidha. Wherever these 4 activities of adharma are happening, he said, Mr. Kali, you can go and live in any of these places. So what are these 4 things?
Or that we are not able to do.
The four regulative principles, isn't it? Dyutam, gambling; Panam, intoxication; Striya, illicit relationships; and Suna is meat eating. So our four regulative principles come from this verse. Right here in this verse, these four regulative principles are mentioned, and that is where Kali, or the mentality of Kali, lives. And that is why, if as devotees we are supposed to counter or try to keep the mentality or the propensity of Kali Yuga away from us, that is why these four regulative principles are given. But what then happens in the next verse, there is a fifth place also he gives. So what is the fifth place? Because he says that, yes, that right now none of these things under your reign, under your in your kingdom, these four things are not happening today. So that doesn't cut it for me, where is such a place where I can live? Because this is not even happening. You're such a righteous king, you won't allow such adharma to happen. But there was a lot of prosperity, a lot of wealth, lot of material prosperity in the kingdom. And later on, this material propensity, this material prosperity gives rise to this kind of propensity for sense gratification. So he says that in the next verse, it's 856. Okay, so we'll just read the English. The personality of Kali asked for something more. And because of his begging, the king gave him permission to live where there is gold. Because wherever there is gold, there is also these remaining things: falsity, which is gambling; intoxication, we know; lust; envy; and enmity is for animal slaughter. So Rajau Vairam Cha Panchamam. These are the five things that we must avoid in Kali Yuga. So the four regulative principles plus excessive atyahara, excessive or over collection of material prosperity, because that over collection of material prosperity gives rise to the remaining four. So even if one is not like that, he becomes he's just naturally swayed towards too much prosperity is not conducive to one's devotional life. Okay, so let me see. I had a couple of more things, and then there is this verse in the 5th canto. I just wanted to show here that there is a direct reference in the 4th chapter, 9th verse. So here we see Yesham khalu mahayogi bharato jyeshtha shrestha gunah asidyenedam varsham bharatam iti vyapadishanti. So you can see here that varsham bharatam iti. So this is the chapter where the dynasty of Rishabdev is being described. And the Rishabdev had how many sons? 100 sons. And the oldest one was Maharaj Bharat. The oldest and the best is Maharaj Bharat. So on his name, Bharatam iti, Bharat Varsham iti, you can see here in the 9th verse that, O Rishabdev, of Rishabdev's 100 sons, the eldest, named Bharata, was a great exalted devotee qualified with the best attributes. In his honor, this planet has become known as Bharatvarsh. It is directly there in the Sanskrit verse. Asidyenedam Varsham Bharatam iti Vyapadishanti. So this land is known as Bharatvarsh, based on the son of Rishabdev. So that's directly, Srila Prabhupada says, as far as we are convinced, but that conviction is coming from 5th canto description. Anyway, so I just wanted to mention that, Srila Prabhupada is so thorough in writing all his points. So once again, The verse today is Esha Data Sharanyascha Yatha Hi Oshi Narashibi Yatho Yasho Vitanita Swanam Daushyanti Riva Yajvanam. Translation: this child will be a munificent donor of charity and protector of the surrendered, like the famous King Shibi of the Ushinara country, and he will expand the name and fame of his family like Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyant. So the topic today was Dan and Yasha, but we mainly ended up discussing on Dan. Okay, so that's today's discussion. It's 9 o'clock, right on time. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any discussion or comments or questions? On Zoom? And we have few devotees here in the room with me. Anyone? Okay. Okay. So if no comments or questions, thank you so much for giving me a chance to read Srimad Bhagavatam, prepare some notes. It was a very nice exercise for me, as always. And I'll hope to see all of you at the temple today. Today, there will be a program or initiation ceremony. There will be a class and yagya and all by His Holiness Romapad Maharaj, who is visiting today. And several devotees are receiving first and second initiation. So please come and join in the celebration and blessings. Give your blessings to all the devotees who are taking this next step in their spiritual life. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Balantai Prabhu, for your